Menace to sobriety. Just a menace, just a menace, just a menace. Menace to sobriety.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Menace to Sobriety. No, this isn't Kirk, and no, this isn't Dan. My name is Elliot Wald, hypnosis expert, addiction specialist, and today I'm taking over Dan O'Reilly, aka Dapper Laughs, Menace to Sobriety. I've turned the tables and I'm going to interview him. So, hi Dan, how you doing? Again.
Yes, mate, third time lucky, my friend. That was a great intro.
You like that?
Yeah, welcome, man. I'm on the other side, man. This is good. This is cool.
Switch to the other side.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what you got for me, man.
Yeah, definitely. So listen, our third time meeting up.
Yeah.
So it's good.
Do you know what? I'm 300 days, just over 300 days, about 302 days or something like that.
Dan, you just interrupted my question.
Oh, shit, sorry. No, I'm just saying it because we've done 50, then 100 days. I'm already fucking this up. Go.
So first question, how many days have you now, Dan?
300 and something days, sorry.
300 and something days.
Yeah. I'll tell you right now, actually.
Yeah, you got an app?
Yeah, because it is the reason why I jumped straight in there, because it is relative to mine and yours journey, because we done 50 together, then we done 100, didn't we? 303 days.
303 days.
Yeah, I don't know if you can zoom in on that one.
That's fucking awesome.
Oh, look at that.
Awesome. So let me ask you some questions, because 303 days, that's a long time, right?
Yeah.
A time for life to change.
Yeah.
So what's happened to your tribe, the tribe that you used to drink and do the packet occasionally with? What's happened to those people?
That's a tough one, man. I don't really see them, to be honest with you. I don't really see them. I still talk to them occasionally, but I don't go out with them. I don't see them. A few of my close friends, I don't talk to at all.
Right.
So it's kind of like out with the old, in with the new. I saying that there's no sort of new friends, but put it this way: the people that are only interested in really kind of drinking and using drugs still. They don't call me really, and I don't reach out to them because I know kind of what they're doing to socialise it. But I've got no bad feelings about that, and I'd never try and change them in any way, shape, or form. It works for them still. But my tribe now is Shelley and the two girls, man. That's all. That all my time is spent there. I'm working, and socialising for me is with them now.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing, because a lot of people ask me these questions. They're like, oh, what am I going to do? Where am I going to go? How am I going to go out with those friends? How am I going to go to the pub? How am I going to go to these places? Because very much it's a tribe mentality, right? You tend to associate with people who do the like things, and then your tribe congregate in that place where your tribe feel comfortable. And then when you stop, as you say, you suddenly don't have those people. But it's opened up lots of other opportunities for you.
Yeah, I think like grow up, man. Like fucking, I'm nearly 40 years old, and I'm like, I just think like, well, so what if you lose some friends? And it depends what's important to you. And I think the most important thing is how we feel about ourselves. Do you know what I mean? So that's what this last 300 and something days, 303 days or whatever, or 9 months has been about. Is about being comfortable with myself. I mean, I've just come back from a little caravan holiday. I was telling you about it outside, and my missus said to me, "God, I've never seen you sort of be able to sit in one place. Like we go to the beach. Normally we'd go to the beach and I'd be there half hour, 45 minutes, and I'd be like, right, what's going on? Like, what else are we doing? Or I'd be like, oh, I want to go and get a beer or da-da-da. Or we'd be watching the evening entertainment, and I'll get about half hour, 45 minutes into it, and I'd be like, right. Or we're back at the caravan. I'm like, right, what's next? This whole time it weren't about me and what I was doing. I was just watching the kids, what they were doing. I was just happy in my own skin.
Yeah, you're present, you're engaged.
Yeah, just happy. And yeah. So it feels good.
So here's a question that I'm asked a lot. Do you ever think about it?
What about drink and drugs?
Drink and drugs. Do you ever think about it? Do you ever think about, drink?
Only really when something goes wrong. Weirdly, strangely enough. I mean, I'm not sat around thinking about. I don't know when this changed. Probably somewhere around the 6 month mark. Probably somewhere around 6, 5 or 6. Because I really struggled month 1 to 3. I was like, who am I? What am I doing? Oh, this doesn't feel right. 4 or 5, I was like, oh, this is weird, because everything changes in your life, right? It's like a complete lifestyle change, and you battle with it. And maybe around 6 or 7 months, I was still romanticizing going and having a nice cold beer and having a drink with the lads and everything like that. And then I just realized, like, I can still do that if I want to do that, but I don't want to do that. I can have a nice alcohol-free beer if I want to. I don't want to do that. To me, the problem was really the packet, the session, and all. That's what
Yeah.
was fucking ruining my life. And when I look at that now and think about it, it fucking disgusts me. I couldn't think of anything worse. I feel so good, so healthy, so lean, and so fresh, and so with it, and so on a level that I couldn't think of anything worse. So I don't feel awkward. I don't get that anxiety anymore. I used to get riddled with anxiety, you know, being around people that were drinking. I get a bit anxious if people are visibly drunk in front of me. I want to get away from it. But no, I haven't romanticized about it at all. I'm kind of, you know, you got to be careful, obviously, touch wood, but I kind of feel like I'm moving on from it.
Definitely. Your identity's changed.
Yeah, it's not me, man. Like, but when something goes wrong, I get triggered. So if I got like fucking, you know, if there's various things in my life that I know are
bad news.
Yeah, bad news, or if, you know, I'm insecure about certain things in my life. If something like that pops up, I do get a shudder.
How do you deal with that then?
I see it as a trigger.
Okay.
I've labelled them as triggers now. And but you know, I'm like, if someone close to me was to die, I'd be worried about how I would cope with that without drink and drugs. And you know, I think that you know, that's the only thing that worries me. If something massively bad happened to me and I was struggling to cope, I think it would be a battle for me. But day-to-day life is quite.
I see one of your coping strategies, and I also am a great advocate of this. Is you're into the boxing. I'm not boxing. Mine's in the gym doing weights, but you know, I think that really helps your mental stability. What do you think?
The massive thing with that is, I think it's mental resilience. It's like willpower. It's like building your willpower. You know, like if I start my day not wanting to get out of bed, then getting out of bed, and not wanting to go to the gym, then going to the gym, and not wanting to do the press ups, but doing the press ups and the fucking burpees and the star jumps, then not wanting to spar and doing the spar. By the time I get out, I'm like, fucking mate, I've done all of that. Seeing a beer or a social event or something like that, that's a piece of piss for me to overcome my willpower. If I'm really pushing myself to do real tough, hard stuff, you know, like sparring is fucking horrible, especially when you're sparring lads that are better than you. You know, and I just think, you know, like the cold water dips and all of that stuff, it's all about building mental resilience. And when I say to people, you've got to put the work into your sobriety, it's not just the meetings and brushing up on the knowledge, it's building that mental willpower. Because ultimately, succumbing to your addiction and succumbing to turning to drink and drugs, and when you're bored or when everything goes wrong, it's low willpower, because you know it's not going to do nothing positive for you.
Yeah.
So that's what that is for me.
Yeah. I mean, and plus that exercise releases a lot of dopamine.
Yeah, I definitely get high from it. Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
it's interesting. I remember reading a book by Jesse Itzler called "Living with a Seal," and Jesse Itzler was a writer. He made lots of jingles, made lots of money, opened an airline, etc. And he decided to get fit, so he hired a trainer. The trainer turned out to be David Goggins, which is what made David Goggins famous in the end.
Wow.
And in the book, David Goggins is kind of like off the chart, does crazy shit, right? And so one day he says to Jesse Itzler, listen, I want you to sit in this chair. I want you to sit in this chair all night long. And Jesse Itzler's like, well, I've got a perfectly fucking good bed. Why have I got to sit in a chair? He said, because you're too comfortable.
Yeah.
I need you to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So when uncomfortable things happen in your life, you're already prepared for it.
I love that.
And that's kind of like what you're saying, right?
Yeah.
Your mental preparation for when things may happen or do happen in life, you've got a resilience, as you say.
Yeah, 100%. I think that it's far too easy for us as people, especially as men at the moment, to stick the fucking TV on, to sit back, to open a beer, to have a line of coke, to cheat on your missus. The real fucking tough thing is showing up for your family, like being trustworthy, trying to be clean, healthy and stuff like that. That's tough. That's hard work, mate.
Yeah.
You know, to be a good person, it takes fucking work. And there's loads of shit I'm probably doing wrong, and I'm still learning and stuff like that. But I actually enjoy the process now of trying to get the most out of my day. It makes me feel proud. It's like you swap the guilt and shame for a little bit of pride.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But I see you also do your training, your boxing first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of sets you up for the day.
Yeah.
There's an old analogy that I like. It says, when you're on the plane and the oxygen masks come down, the captain says, always put your oxygen mask on yourself before you start helping other people. Otherwise, you run out of oxygen. So it's kind of like what you're doing. You're taking care of yourself so you can then take care of other people.
Definitely. I mean, 100% for me. When I walk back through the door after being to the gym, I'm fucking full of life. The endorphins are just kicking in. I've normally had a coffee, so I'm off me nut. But I'm like, woo, fucking, it's going to be a good day. But not just that. I've got this saying where I kind of say, like, I beat the day before it beats me, because if I lie in bed for too long and start thinking about things, I don't know if it's the ADHD or what, or just because I'm an overthinker. If I literally lie in my bed and I don't get out straight away, right, and I start thinking, and one thought goes to another thought, if I latch onto a negative thought and I could quite easily stay in bed all day.
Yeah.
I could quite easily lose the willpower, and it happen. And sometimes I get mental fatigue of trying to fucking push and do all these different things that I'm doing, the comedy, the business, the fucking family man, the sobriety. And some days I can't, once every couple of months or once every month or something like that, I'm just like, do you know what? Fuck life, fuck me, fuck. But that would happen a hell of a lot more if I didn't throw my feet out of bed as soon as I woke up, because you can get comfortable with the idea of doing fuck all.
Yeah, definitely. That's what I call buckets. There's a do it bucket and there's a fuck it bucket.
Yeah.
And you've got to figure out how to fill your do it bucket and empty a fuck it bucket.
Yeah.
I like to think about addiction as a black hole, right? And there's this black hole, and the closer you are to the black hole, the more it can draw you in. And it draws you in, and once it sucks you in, it's fucking tough to get out. But as long as you stay further and further away from the black hole, and as time progresses, life becomes easier.
Yeah, fucking hell, that's a good analogy. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, definitely that's a good analogy, man.
What a question I want to pick up on, you mentioned about your ADHD.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because I get literally thousands of people since being on your podcast and the platform on TikTok, etc., message me. And one of the common things that I hear is people say to me, yeah, but I've got ADHD. I need to use the packet. I've got ADHD. I need to drink.
Yeah, that's
it's their excuse. What do you say to
that? Man, fucking, that's like self-diagnosis. You know what I mean? Like, if you're, oh man, I can't say nothing. I was probably fucking self-medicating with cocaine for fucking years. But it's true, the cocaine might calm down the ADHD. I mean, they give you stimulants for ADHD, but that's bullshit, man. You can't use that as an excuse. ADHD is like a million thoughts, and a million. The best way I can describe the ADHD for me is I don't even have a choice whether to act on my thoughts. If I'm like washing up a cup or something, and then I suddenly want to do a video, it's like I'm doing the video, and then I've realised I've stopped washing the cup. It's like, and that happens fucking continuously throughout the day. It can become chaotic. I think that if you need medication for your ADHD, you should probably get the correct stuff, because do you know what I mean?
Self-medicating.
Yeah, like fucking, sitting on your own in the pitch black, wanking yourself silly to porn because you've done too much coke ain't helping your ADHD. Do you know what I mean?
Especially it's hard to get it there. Isn't it?
Yeah.
Talking about washing up and doing a video and the ADHD. I want to pick up on something that I was going to say for later, but I'm going to jump right in with it.
Yeah, go on.
Because people talk about addiction and addictive personalities. I'm quite a believer in addictive personalities, but there's a lot of research now in what's called impulsivity, right?
Yeah.
So what impulsivity is, people who have a bridging gap between thinking about something, thinking about the pros and cons of doing it, and the impulsivity of just doing something without thinking about it. Like suddenly you're doing a video, suddenly you're washing up. And there's a guy called Dr. Barrett in the 90s. He developed an impulsivity test. So I thought it would be good if I do the impulsivity test on you, right?
Wow.
It's 30 questions. And also for all of you watching at home, grab a piece of paper, pause this for a moment, grab a pen, and let's see where you come on the impulsivity test. So I'm going to ask you 30 questions.
Yeah.
Okay. And these questions rank from 1 to 4. Let me just get all my paper and all my notes together, because Got it. Perfect. Okay, perfect. Right. So grab your piece of paper, grab your pen, and let's do the impulsivity test, okay?
All right.
30 questions between 1 and 4. So 1 is rarely, 2 is sometimes, 3 is often, and 4 is always, okay? And I'm going to score you. So first thing that comes into your head when I ask the questions, okay? I plan tasks carefully. 1, 2, 3, or 4?
Rarely.
Okay, so 1 is a rarely. Okay, perfectly. I do things without thinking.
3.
3.
Often.
Okay. Often. I make up my mind quickly.
4. Always.
Always.
Boom.
Okay. I'm happy-go-lucky.
Often. 3.
3. I don't pay attention.
This is like my ADHD test.
Yeah.
Yeah, two. Sometimes, yeah, I don't pay attention. Actually, no, I'm fucking my missus is constantly having a go at me about this. So, 3 often.
Okay. You changing your mind again? Okay. I have racing thoughts.
Always 4.
I plan trips well ahead of time.
Rarely 1.
I am self-controlled.
Oh, what does that mean?
It means I'm self-controlled. If I make a decision that I think's the wrong decision, I go, no, I'm not going to do that. And you stick with not going to do that. But we're not just talking about sobriety. We're talking about in general in life.
I'm self-controlled. Yeah, I think I am quite often 3.
3. Okay. I concentrate easily.
1, rarely. That's hard for me to concentrate, man.
I save regularly.
Save money?
I guess so, yeah. It's quite generic, but yeah.
Yeah, 3 often, yeah.
I squirm at plays or lectures.
What do you mean? Find it hard to sit through them?
Yeah, to concentrate.
Yeah, always 4, yeah.
Okay. I'm a careful thinker. The thinking pose there.
Yeah, I'm often a careful thinker.
I plan for job security.
No, rarely 1.
I say things without thinking.
Always 4.
I think that's got you in trouble before.
Yeah.
I like to think about complex problems.
Rarely. Fuck. Couldn't think of anything worse than thinking of a complex problem.
I change jobs.
Yeah, always. I mean, I do many different fucking things. You know, I'm always coming up with new things. Yeah,
you are. I act on impulse.
Yeah, always 4.
I get easily bored when solving thought problems.
Often 3.
I act on the spur of the moment.
Often 3.
I'm a steady thinker.
Sometimes 2.
Hope you're writing these down back home. I change where I live. Change residences, change houses.
Sometimes 2. I've moved a few times in the
I buy things on impulse.
Often 3.
I can only think about one problem at a time.
Yep. Always 4.
I change hobbies.
Often 3.
I spend more than I earn.
That's difficult because I fucking earn shitloads of money.
He's rich.
No, I'm joking. Rarely. I'm good with my money.
I have outside thoughts when thinking.
Yeah, often 3.
I'm more interested in the present than the future.
Rarely 1.
I am restless at lectures or talks.
Yeah, often 3.
I like puzzles.
Fuck no. 1. Rarely.
I plan for the future.
Often 3.
Okay, so, anyone got a calculator here? Let's just calculate these up for me. Ready? Mooch, you got a calculator? You ready? I'm just going to call them out. 1, 3, 4, 3, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 1, 4, 1, 4, 4, 3. You still going?
Yeah, I think so.
3, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3, 1, 3.
Is it right or wrong?
And your lottery numbers today are? What's the total? 92. Okay, perfect. 92. Okay, so
92. Is that did I pass?
well, so listen. The scores range from 30 to 120.
Right.
The higher the score, the more impulsivity you have, the more likely and propensity you have to have an addictive type of personality or make addictive decisions. Be that alcohol, be that using the packet, be that using anything, even exercise. Right.
Yeah.
So you range extremely high in impulsivity.
Yeah.
Anything over 60, 65, 70 is starting to veer on high, and you were at 90, you're fucking off the chart.
Yeah.
And that's a common thing about people who have that propensity to become addicted to certain things.
Yeah.
Right? and people talk about addiction, people go, how do you define addiction? I can tell you how I define addiction and then see what you think about this. So to me, addiction is having a compulsion to a substance or a behavior that has a craving, right? That gives temporary relief from a problem that has a negative consequence. That's how I would define an addiction.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right. I think I'd sort of, if I was to describe addiction, I'd say having an overwhelming compulsion to do something and doing it even though you know it has a negative outcome.
Right.
Yeah, so very similar, yeah.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, we were having a talk outside about people saying, oh, I'm not addicted. I only use once a week. I'm not addicted. I only use twice a week. I only drink twice a week. I only drink, it's not a question of the frequency. It's a question of the negative consequences of doing that.
Yeah, it pisses me off, to be honest with you. I get almost like that. I've got to sometimes justify myself on on the level of my problem, when ultimately I don't like. It's a funny old thing, Elliot, mate, because I never particularly wanted to be sat here talking about drinking and drugs and stuff like that. But I feel like I've got a responsibility to my following. I feel like if you're not sharing stuff that can help people and you're only using your social medias for your own benefit, then I think that's a bit of a shit thing to do. So but it does piss me off when because ultimately people are struggling that are reaching out to me, and I think that's why I loved the podcast with you and talking and learning about what you do, because I think that the sort of the taboo, the elephant in the room, and the big killer for especially suicide in young men, and the unspoken about addiction and the thing that is really sort of systematically woven into our society and culture, and the thing that's fucking up families the most is the weekend fucking session binging. Not the most, but I'm saying it's the most untalked about.
Yeah.
And it's the most because it's almost like it's allowed and it's not a fucking problem. But if you're only fucking your life up 25% of the time, what does that mean? You don't have a fucking problem because you're not fucking your life up 100% of the time.
Yeah.
And I may not have been an alcoholic in the true sense of the word, but when I drank like an alcoholic. When I sniffed gear, I sniffed gear like a drug addict.
All or nothing.
It was all or nothing. And I think if once you pop, you can't stop, whether it's drink, drugs, or whatever. If that's having a negative effect on your life and you can't stop doing it, then you've got a problem. Whether it's fucking once a month, once a year, or fucking every day.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are two categories of people that use. I mean, there's subdivisions, but I was putting this out the other day. There's what I call a finisher or a putter-awayer. So that's whether it's alcohol. I'm a finisher. I drink, unless you've got a bar, I drink, continually until I finish. Or if I've got the packet, I just keep going until I finish it. Or I put it away, like I've done a full G or 2 Gs or whatever, and I put some away for another day. That was called a finisher or a putter-awayer. And the response was this. They go, well, I'm a putter-awayer, so I'm not addicted. I'm not the same as a finisher. And I go, well, hang on a minute. What about if you're the putter-awayer and then you pull it out tomorrow, and then you're a putter-awayer and you pull it out tomorrow? They've both got an addiction, right? Yeah.
I think this is there's a reason why society doesn't advertise or push the narrative that alcohol and drugs in moderation are bad for you. But well, definitely alcohol, because there's a whole industry around alcohol.
Yeah.
And I think that some of us have got addictive natures, like you said, addictive personalities, like you say in the test.
Yeah,
I know,
impulsivity.
And it's definitely impulsivity. I know that everything that I enjoy, I do at fucking excess, everything. And some of us are built like that, and some of us ain't. And I think this is the big problem when it comes to men. That when we're doing it every weekend, or we're doing it or whatever throughout our 20s or whatever, like I was from the beginning of my 20s, maybe a bit earlier, 17, 18, through my 20s to my early 30s, it didn't really matter because I was fucking happy-go-lucky. I didn't have too many responsibilities and that. When you add a fucking massive mortgage and kids into the fucking mix and a wife and somebody else's feelings, you will find out very quickly whether you're an addict or not when you've got to stop. Yeah. And I believe that's what's happening to a lot of lads out there and people like myself, where you're like, you didn't think you had a problem because it was only at the weekends, but then fucking try and stop the weekends. Yeah. And then you'll realise that you've got a bit of an issue.
Because listen, if I go back right to the beginning, listen, it was a laugh. I had a good time. I was with everybody else that was having a good time. It's only when that starts to, snowball
Yeah.
And get bigger and bigger and becomes more often, and then it starts to impinge on your life that you want to stop, right?
Yeah.
You know, because I think this morning somebody wrote on my TikTok, because I always do a Friday video, you know, it's Friday, you know, Friday's International Let's Get On It Tonight Day, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And someone put this morning, can't wait to finish work at 5 p.m. And I to get on the bag. And I just responded with, said every addict once.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, look, the beautiful thing about said every addict once. Yeah, I mean,
it's true, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, look, it's a really difficult one because I've never wanted to sort of advocate, like, I've never wanted to really push sobriety on people that don't have a problem, you know, and but that sends mixed messages out as well, you know. Being a personality with a platform, it's very tricky sometimes, you know, because in some of my videos I say, look, you know, if you can enjoy, you know, a bit of gear, if you can enjoy a bit of alcohol and it's not ruining your life, then fine. But then I have people that say, well, hold on a second, it's mixed messages here. You're saying it's all right one minute and it's not the other minute. And at the end of the day, that all of that stuff, I don't really particularly want to get involved in. What I want to say, and I think which is very much your message as well, and what you do, is what I want to show and what I want to say is that whatever you're doing, whatever, fucking that's your life, get on with it. But if you don't enjoy it, I'm living proof that you can change it.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, and actually it can be like I was saying to you earlier before we come up, like I feel like I've got a sense of imposter syndrome where I've never been this happy for this prolonged amount of time in my life. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. You know, it's like I'm waiting for impending doom. It's like, you know, I'd always be happy for a bit, then I'd get smashed, then I'd be fucked, and then I'd recover, and then just as I start feeling good again, I'd get smashed, recover, and it was like this cycle. And now it's just kind of like, oh right, I've just had a lovely holiday, I've come back fresh, and now I'm back to work. And what's this weekend hold? I've got some gigs, and I'm fairly happy. The missus is happy, the kids are happy. There's no drama, and that's just what I want to show. Really,
that's what I call hangxiety, where the after effects of using gives you that anxiety. Anxiety.
Yeah. I fucking know that awful.
Anxiety.
Yeah, you know what sorts that out? A beer.
Yeah, a beer.
Yeah.
Get to him, mate.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's interesting. I agree with you because somebody wrote, and I've had a few of these comments like, is that all that Geezer ever talks about? Does he ever talk about the packet? Well, yeah, that's what my channel's about. But I'm agreeing with you, right?
Yeah, I had that today on the side. Yeah, go on.
But I'm agreeing with you because if that's what you want to do, who the fuck am I to tell you what to do? I'm not there to tell somebody what to do. But if you've decided you've come to a point in your life where you don't want to do it anymore, I'm here to go, I've been there, I've done it, I bought the t-shirt, I help other people out. Yeah. I can share things with you. You share things with you. You know, transparency and honesty. Yeah. That's what it's about.
Yeah, I think that there's just, like the first question you asked me on this podcast was, you know, who's left from your tribe, you know, how basically what does the landscape of your friendship look like in your life? And that is 110%. You know, the alcohol and the drugs is like one part of it. You know, if you've been doing something for like 20 years a certain way, and then, you know, and then you're coming up to this brick wall that is your sobriety, and you're like peering over the brick wall to see what it looks like. What's on the other side of that brick wall is fucking shit. It's scary. Yeah. When you're looking over the brick wall, you're looking at, right, so no more pubs, no more relaxing, no more letting my hair down, no more letting off steam, no more seeing my pals.
What am I going to do now?
No more sniffing, no more this. What am I going to do when times are hard? I work hard all week, and you look, and it's like, I'm not even going to comprehend that. I can't be bothered. And the truth is, it's fucking hell at the beginning. But if you know, you get to a certain point where you're like, fucking hell, I wish I'd done this sooner. You know.
Yeah. I think that's what a lot of people go to, is their excuse, and their excuse is, I've grafted all week, I've put my shift in, there's food on the table, roof over the kids' heads, they're clothed. Why the fuck shouldn't I? Yeah,
well, look, fucking, I can relate to that, man. I mean, there's a lot of, like I was saying the other day, someone wrote a comment on the YouTube saying, it's all right for you, you got a big house, a McLaren, you got money in your pocket, you got work and all that. And I thought to myself, initially I got annoyed, like my ego made me want to say something, but then I thought, no, you're fucking right, actually. Sobriety has been easier for me than someone that's got nothing, because if you've got nothing around you and you feel like the only thing you have got is drink and drugs, and then someone saying, look, the best thing to sort your life out is to take that away from you. I mean, for me, my motivation was my family and my kids, and keeping everything around me that I've earned and I've got. So I 100% relate to people that are in that position where they're like, the only thing I've got at the end of the week is a fucking piss up and a bag of gear. But there is so much more to life if you can get out of that cycle. And actually, if you can get out of that cycle, maybe you could create something that's worth staying sober for.
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. When you say, okay, yeah, I looked at that comment, I thought, well, maybe they're right because I do have this and I do have that, and maybe it is easier for me. But what about the people who that's all they've got to look forward to at the end of the week, but they're still pissing up the wall 300 quid, right?
Yeah.
300 quid's easy done on a Friday and Saturday. You know, get a few packets in, a few beers, 200, 300 quid, easy done. And when you think about £200 on a week in, week out, £200, what's that, 10 grand a year, £300, 15 grand a year? Imagine what that person who might be tight for money can do with 10 grand a year.
Yeah.
You know, I had a client the other day. He got in contact with me and he saw me about, I would say a year ago. And I love this, right?
Yeah.
And he said to me, El, I've got to tell you this. He said, I've always loved the watch you wear, right? And I've got this thing about a watch because I came from nothing, like nothing. Everything I have, I grafted for. I left home before I was 14 and a half, before I was 15, had nothing, right? And my one thing in life is I like a watch, right? This guy, when he came to see me, was doing £1,000 a week of gear. Plumber, lost his business.
Fucking
he'd
hell.
done this for 5 to 7 years, right? And he phones me up not long ago, and it's been a year clean. He said, oh, I've got to tell you. I was like, yeah, okay, well, I just bought a watch.
Wow.
I just bought a 10 grand watch. And I was like, fucking fair play.
Yeah, that's brilliant, man. That's beautiful. I mean, that's you know, that's pride. That's pride. He's going to wear his pride on his wrist.
Exactly.
And what you're saying is true. It's such a complex. It's such a complex thing, isn't it? I mean,
10 grand. Listen, it's not only go and do it because that's all you've got on a Friday night, but the repercussions of feeling tired Saturday. Being short fused, not spending time with your family, and before you know it, it's Monday, right? Monday, and your weekend's fucking gone.
yeah, and then it's
Gone.
back to fucking stress.
And then you graft a week, and you feel like I deserve this, I earn this. Well, hang on, where's the balance in your life?
Yeah, yeah. It does take some getting used to being fucking normal.
Yeah,
You know, I do some. You know, I was sat watching the show at Haven Holiday Park. I went to Haven Holiday
Yeah, I
Park.
saw.
And my fucking kids love it. And I was sat watching the show in there, and everyone around me was drinking and getting smashed. And I was just sort of thinking, like, this is weird because I've never really paid attention to what had been going on around. Like when I sit around now in a busy environment and there's kids running around, and I was watching my kids running up to the thing and running around and dancing and doing all this stuff, and I just found myself there out for ages. And then I was watching the stuff and I was thinking to myself, fucking hell, there's so much. What I would have been doing is drinking and just getting smashed.
Yeah.
And It is a beautiful. I guess what I'm trying to say is it's a new experience. If you're used to drinking every time you're relaxing, relaxing sober is a new experience, and it's quite cool. Yeah, it's weird.
You know, some people say to me, "El, what couldn't I just be an occasional user? Couldn't I just drink every so often? Couldn't I just use the packet every so often?" And I think that's a lot of people's dream and wish to do.
Yeah.
That, right.
Yeah.
And I can only say, listen, I can only speak from my experience and the experience of the clients that I work with, but I don't personally think it's possible once you've had that addiction to go back and be a casual user. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think. Look, I thought like this for years. I for years and years and years. I mean, I knew years ago that that I was being a complete arsehole to my wife. You know, every couple of weeks, every weekend, and. I was like, oh, but I don't want to give it up really because it's like my thing. It's my thing, you know. It's my thing. I don't want to. Maybe I'll do it less. But ultimately, I was just being a twat a little bit less. Do you know what I mean? And now when I look at it, I'm like, why? You know, it's right. It's, the way I see it is, it's escapism, right? You sniff a fucking line, you're gone. You're like, I'm escaping the world. Fuck you to everything. This is what it was like for me. I'd drink, it'd be all right. I didn't really, you know, I'd drink first few or whatever. What I wanted is I wanted to get smashed. I was like, give me more. And then when I was like, hey, fucking, and I'm like, now I'm gone. I'm like, yeah, this is where I wanted to be. Fuck the world. Fuck everything. Everything's too hard. And this is my time. I've escaped, yeah. Now I'm like, why would I, you know, life's good.
Yeah.
Life's good now. Why do I want to escape? I'm like, what? Go and get fucking obliterated out of my mind. Forget my kids. Forget my missus. Forget everything. But be around a load of other people that are getting off their fucking tits, and then what? Smash straight back down to earth, and then back here and back dealing with whatever I'd done during that time. So it's the habit is escaping.
Yeah.
So to get rid of your problem, you've got to stop wanting to escape. You've got to fix your life, sort your shit out in your life, so you don't want to escape it. Yeah. And that's the key, And if once you pop, you can't stop, then it doesn't matter if you're doing it once a year or twice a year. You're still going to fucking damage yourself and damage everything around you.
Yeah.
It's a hard one.
It's like trying to find a temporary solution, but it doesn't solve the problem.
Yeah, exactly. It's like alcohol and drugs is like the I don't know what the word is. It's like, that's your coping mechanism. That's the way you cope with your problem.
Yeah, it's like you've got a deep cut, and you're sticking a plaster on it, right?
Yeah.
And for that short period of time, you don't see the cut underneath, but the plaster's going to come off and it's going to start fucking bleeding.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it's like.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's mad when you think about it, but it's this thinking that helps, because I don't know, it's so weird, it's so intelligent. The addiction is so intelligent.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The actual addiction is so intelligent. The addiction lied to me for years. It told me that this is what you need, this is what's going to make you happy, and you need a little bit of this in order to cope with your life.
Yep.
But my life wasn't, my relationship with my wife never got to this point. Like, I've been with her for 10 fucking years, and we'd always make a bit of progress where we were like happy, like good friends, and then I'd fuck something up. Then we'd make a little bit of progress where she was happy and everything was happy. Then I'd fuck something up, not serious things, but just being an arsehole, like saying I was going to do something and not doing it because I was fucked, or being out sniffing gear instead of being with her or the kids, or not being interested in doing stuff. Whereas now it's like we've broken through a barrier where, first of all, she didn't know if I was going to stay sober. Now I've built that trust. Yeah. Well, now we've become friends.
How long? Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
How long did it take to build that trust? How long did it take Shelley to build that trust with you again, to know that, yes?
I think she's only just really started.
So 9 months?
I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 months, because, she was hurt by she, I think, she had to get over a lot of stuff, because if you think about, our life, that was just me. When she met me, that was just me, and I get a lot of comments going, he wasn't an addict, his missus has just had enough. And that's the truth. But what she has witnessed in that, we don't really talk about it, to be honest with you, because she doesn't need to go into detail and talk to me. She'll put a little story, like she put a story when we were sat on the beach, and she rarely uses her Instagram and stuff like that, with just a picture of me with my arms around her with the song, what a man, what a man, what a man, what a mighty good man. And to me, that I was like, oh, fucking, I had a lump in my throat. I was like, she's a hard northern woman, and just her just putting it out there that, I'm a great man. I mean, this time last year, she loved me, she'd with me, she'd stick with me, but she was at the end of her tether. She was like, look, Dan, I know you're a good person, but I can't deal with this. It's like one step forward, two step backs. And I think that now, once she saw the heart, because I had some serious wobbles in this 9 months, you know what I mean? Like fucking, like pulling my hair out, screaming and shouting and fucking not knowing what I'm doing. We've been to barbecues where I'm like, I can't fucking handle this, really, to slowly,
you just want to get away.
Yeah. And slowly calming down, or little things happening, not knowing how to deal with them. And I think now she's kind of like, right, this is where we're at. But plus, we started having a really good time together, having a laugh.
Quality time.
Yeah, quality time. And we've broke through, we've gone, there's no step back. So it's like it's getting better and better and better. So I reckon she trusts me now, and she's happy. But there must always be something inside her like, careful now, because,
I think an interesting point to bring up is, because people listening to this, they've either got an addiction or they want to get sober, whether it be the alcohol or the packet or both, or other addictions, right? And we're talking to those people, but you also got to remember the people around
Yeah,
the
the wives,
family,
the
wives,
partners.
the partners, the mothers, the fathers, the sons, the daughters, who have never had an addiction, perhaps, and don't understand it. I get a lot. I had a phone call just before I got on the tube to come here today of a client I saw on Wednesday for his first session, and he phoned me. He said, "Listen, my wife actually doesn't believe I came to see you on Wednesday. Could you do me a favour and call her?" I said, yeah, of course, no worries. So I called her and I said, listen, I can't discuss your husband. I know he's your husband. There's confidentiality here. But what I am going to say is he did come and see me.
Yeah.
You're welcome to come to the next appointment. I'll see you for a few minutes and then I'll put you in the waiting room at the medical centre.
Yeah.
But she didn't understand it. She's like, I've never had an addiction. It's hard to get my head around. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think that us men, right, especially because I know a lot of men tune into this, but I actually get loads of messages, a lot of messages. I had a few today as well, from women saying my husband this and my partner that, and, what shall I do, and da-da-da-da. First thing I always do is direct them to the podcast, but the weird thing is, lads, what you got to remember is, like, a lot of us are quite possessive over our women, and we can be jealous, and it's like we're very ego-driven animals and protective, right? Whatever. So imagine if your missus, just imagine if your wife was like, right, I'm going out with my friends to a bar, this lovely wine bar, whatever, and then a couple of weeks later, you go to them, oh yeah, that night when you went out, she goes, oh no, actually I went out with this lad from work to a pub, but I just forgot to tell you. You'd be like, what the fuck? Hold on a second. Something's going on here. Something's going on. But even if there was nothing going on, it was just like a white, not a white lie, but like something changed or something like that. You'd be like, fucking your head would go. Well, imagine every single time that we said we're just going out for a couple and stayed out all night. And they were like, where have you been? What have you been doing? Who have you been with? And then that weekend, you said you were going to do something, you didn't, and you lied. And then it's been like that every weekend for fucking years. Those lies. Or
they go and lock themselves in a hotel room for the night the next day. And they're on their own.
And
But it's the same thing. It's like seeing
and
else.
it's the pain. It's the pain that they go through. The fact that you're picking, and they don't understand it. If they haven't got an addiction or they're not on the session, stuff like that they can't understand that compulsion, right? So so they just think you're just saying one thing and doing another thing. So my advice to any men out there, and this is the biggest fucking thing that changed my life, that I think is I think it's rule one anyway, and is to just fucking say it out loud what you're going through and try and explain it, and say, look, this isn't what I want to do, but I can't control it when I get to, I'm driving home in the van on a Friday night, the rest of the boys are going to the pub, and I don't want to do it, but once I have a couple of beers, I end up doing, or whatever it is you're going through, sit them down and talk them through it. And say, look, I want help to battle this. I want help to get over it. And Shelley needed to see me put the work in first, which I think's key. But it's what's that thing that The Rock said the other day on his Instagram? I thought it was fucking brilliant. Where The Rock just put a video up. It was really simple. It was instead of looking at it as one day, look at it as day one. And just make your decision. Say it out loud to your fucking family and your friends and everything. Make that decision, and then you got to stick to it. I always say to people who don't have an addiction but a loved one has an addiction, I always say, listen, it's a bit like when you were in a relationship back in the day that you weren't happy and you were maybe arguing, this person wasn't right for you. It's very rare that you terminate that relationship the day after, right? Normally you're in a bad relationship. It could be months, it could be years before you find something inside of you that goes, no, this relationship isn't right for me. I've got to leave this relationship. And that's like having addiction, whether it be alcohol, using the packet. It's the same thing, right? Yeah, it takes a long time. I found the quickest and easiest way for you to make a decision on whether things are right for you is to treat it as a choice between two things, and that's what I did. I mean, it's a brutal way to look at it, but I looked at drink and drugs or my two little baby girls, and I was like, because ultimately, if my family had fallen apart and we didn't live together and I couldn't see my kids, then that's what I'd done. I'd picked drink and drugs over spending time with my girls, and it's a really brutal thing to do. But we can't sugarcoat this shit. If you can't control yourself once you get started and it's ripping your family apart, you're not putting enough work in. You've got to put more work in. And a great way to motivate yourself is just be fucking real with yourself and put the two fucking things on two hands in front of you and visualize them and look at them and make a fucking choice.
As a psychologist, I would say, this is between compulsion and repulsion, right? So you have a compulsion, but on the opposite side of it, what repulses you about the compulsion? Which would you rather choose?
Oh wow! So this is my compulsion, but this is what repulses me about it.
Yeah.
So this is the cocaine, and what
Correct.
makes me feel sick about it is it takes me away from my family, or the things it makes me do, or how it makes me feel.
And if you
That's
can
a great
replace
way.
a compulsion with a repulsion, then you're way ahead of the game because you're reminding yourself why you don't want to use.
That's brilliant. Yeah.
I think one of the
It's like fast forwarding your thinking, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's exactly what you're doing. Because, listen, one of the problems with using is this. We've all had that experience where 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, you're like, what the fuck do I do that for? I can't sleep. I've wasted money. I've drunk too much. I've phoned the dealer too many times. Like, what the fuck have I done, right? And you have that memory, and it's an emotion, right? And at that moment in time, you truly believe it. You're like, I'm not going to use again. 12 hours, 24 hours, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. That memory begins to diminish. It becomes smaller and smaller. And if you think about it the next day or 3 days later, although you can try and remind yourself you didn't like it, to actually pick up the same emotion you felt at that moment in time is almost impossible.
Yeah.
I mean, when you think about the word emotion, it comes from the word motion, and motion means to move. So that feeling is moving the whole time away from you.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. I mean, wow. Yeah. I mean, I can't. That's brilliant. That's a brilliant way of thinking about it, because we all do that, don't we? We're like, never again. It's like a cliche in it. I'm never drinking again.
Yeah.
And then you're drinking. And I look back at some getting myself in some severe fucking bad ways. I mean, I can remember I went on a bit of a session. You know, my life is so crazy. My schedule is so fucking crazy sometimes, especially if I'm, you know, I was flying over to, I can't remember where it was, where they do the Formula One, Monaco. I was flying to Monaco, and it was the day before that, and all my friends were getting together. They were all coming down, and I was like, oh, it's fucking close, you know, it's the day before, and then I got to fly early hours of the morning. And obviously what happened was I went out, stayed up, and got the flight, and then got over to Monaco, and then carried on. And that turned into like 2 days. And I can remember finding myself in my hotel room, like they were ringing me in the morning, like, come on, we're going to do this. And I was like, I hadn't slept in like 3 days, and I was like sobbing, I was like crying, I was like, I was depleted of emotion and everything. I was just like crying. I was just like, I can't fucking continue doing this. Slept for 3 hours, woke up, and I was like, fucking, let's go again. Do you know what I mean? And it's fucking, you know, it's like the darkness is there, and you're right, the dark, you wake up, and maybe it's the addiction, I don't know, but you wake up and you're like, nah, it weren't that bad. But what I did this time round was I had a really low point, you know, when I've spoken about it before. Well, I wasn't at home, I was staying somewhere else. I was staying at my grandma's, and a bit weird, I guess, but I filmed myself, because I'm always on my phone, and I was sat there on this blow up bed, and I just filmed myself. And like,
Why'd you said bed?
Pardon? Blow up bed. I was on this blow up bird, and I filmed myself, and I've never looked back on it actually, but I must have had that thought at the time, because I was upset, I was crying, and I just was looking around me. I was like, fucking, this is bad. I want to remember this, because, you know, that was my day one, right?
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah.
Filming yourself at that moment in time, but making sure you save the video, don't delete it the next day, and looking back on that time.
Look back on it.
Yeah, and when you think to yourself, oh, it's Friday, when I chip off, I'm going to phone my guy, and you play that video. That's a repulsion.
Yeah, that's brilliant. I mean, I had another one where I had a black eye. I'd been punched in the face in a bar in fucking Weybridge, and and I was off me nut, and I had this picture a couple of days later where I was sat in my garden with my daughter Neve on my lap like that. And, you know, it's a barbecue. I had another beer in my hand, and I had a big black eye. And when I look at that picture now, I see someone in a great deal, not just physical, but in a great deal of pain, you know, going from one uncontrollable drunken mess to a couple of days off to another.
Yeah.
And that brings emotion up in me. So I think that's a great thing to do, you know, whether you've got them already or next time you're in that state of mind, take a picture or take a video.
I mean, some of the stuff that, you know, if I think back over the years listening to you, when you spoke about going to Monaco, I remember doing this many times when I'm going to go on holiday, right? So, of course, I'm flying out tomorrow at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So what do? I think, well, fucking holiday starts tonight. So I'm going to have a session tonight. But you know what I used to do? I used to have a big slug, right? A big slug. Not that you'd get to sleep, but let's say you run out at like midnight. I'd leave a slug for 5 o'clock in the morning on my way to the airport. And then you've got that horrible feeling going through the airport. And I look back at those times and I think, wow.
Oh, mate, I've had that before. I've had, that the fear and the anxiety of being off your nut in the airport. There's nothing worse, you know. And yeah, mate, or coming back, I'll come fucking IB for airport is hell on earth, you know. I've been in some states. I mean, I've had people take selfies. I've missed 3 flights before. Well, I've been like, I've been asleep, yeah, and then gone and booked another one.
Best friend did that.
Yeah, being asleep, and then on the third one, when I missed it, I just went back to fucking IB for town and booked another week. And I've had people do selfies of me like in Burger King on the table, fucking passed out. Oh, mate.
But it's good to remember those things in a way to prevent you going back there, right? That's the difference. You're using that repulsion to make sure you don't go back to that compulsion.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you're talking about. I think that's a very powerful thing to do.
Yeah, because a lot of people do. A lot of people message me. You know, like I guess I've kind of not painted myself, or kind of become like a go-to. Yeah, like a go-to. But like, I don't know the answers to sobriety. All I know is what's worked for me up until this point. You know, everyone wants like a cheat code, or you know what I mean. Everyone's like, you know, how can I stop? What do I do? And I think like the key that is, well, the first 2 things 100% is tell everyone you got a problem. Yep. Especially yourself, but tell everyone around you got a problem.
Get out the dial.
Yeah. Tell everyone you got a problem, because that fucking makes it real, mate. You know, tell everyone you got a problem. It makes it real, and also it puts you in a position where I've said it now, so I've got to sort something out. And number 2 is focus on how shit you feel when you do it.
Yeah. Just to sum up now, I've forgotten what I was going to say.
No, I talk too much, mate. Sorry about that.
completely lost my train of thought there. No, you don't talk too much.
Well, I'll use this opportunity to tell you about the live shows very quickly.
Yes, no, go ahead. Yes. I want to hear about them.
Yes, I want to get you on as a guest for one of them, actually, if I can. Yeah, so if you want to come see us live, Menace to Sobriety, me and Kirk are hosting them. We've got a few dates. The link is in the bio down there. Obviously, I've got my stand-up tour next year, so you can come to that. But if you want to come to the live show, please pop me a message on DM and I'll pass you the link, or check out the Instagram, or look on this video on the YouTube. The links are on the video on YouTube. You might be listening to this, but we're going to do a little bit of talking on stage, then open up the audience. Interactive. Get everyone together. I'll find the first date. Maybe we'll get you down for the first one.
Love that.
Because you are like the go-to cocaine guy. Oh, can we say it? The go-to packet. We say packet because I always get you. You're like the guy. And what I mean, I don't mean like he sells it. What I mean is, but you're the
never done that.
You're the he just robbed people. Yeah. No, you're the go-to packet guy, man. I can remember the first podcast. I learned so much from that.
Yeah, it's good. I think that'd be a great thing, because I think when you have people in the audience who have used or are using or in that place where they're challenged or thinking about, you know, relapsing, I think that interaction when somebody, you know, pops a question and on the spur of the moment you're able to come back with your own experience. Yeah, I think that's great.
Look, the reason why I wanted to do it was because I think that there's great power in the groups, you know, in the sobriety groups.
Definitely.
The reason why I wanted to do the live show is because I was terrified to go to like an AA meeting or anything like that. But what I got, one of the main things I got from it is, one, seeing how many people were similar to me, like looking around and going, oh, fucking hell, he looks like me. Oh, he earns more money than me, or he's fucking, he looks like a banker. You know what I mean? Just looking at like-minded people and going, oh, I'm not that different. But also just listening to people go, oh, mate, yeah, you know, I can't handle it anymore, or this is what it's done to me, and going, fucking hell, I'm the same. Because I think sobriety is cool now. Like, I think it's quite a cool, trendy thing. I'm like, you know, I feel like I'm involved in quite a cool, trendy niche that I like, and I'm into it. Whereas before I started doing all this stuff, I thought fucking sober people worse than vegans.
Fucking boring.
Yeah, fucking sober people are like fucking, you know, just stop oil fuckers. Like, don't want to have nothing to do with it. But once you start mixing around, you can see not only are they good looking, but they're also like me, I think, intelligent. Yeah.
I think what you're talking about is there's a lot of accountability, because there's something I've noticed that I suppose maybe the last maybe 4 months I started doing on a Sunday an L's Sunday check-in on my TikTok, right? So it started with just like, listen.
Is it a live stream?
No, it's not. I'm going to do that, but I haven't done that yet just because so many things going on, a bit like you know, it's crazy busy, right? Good idea. But I do a pre-recorded, put out every Sunday. It's called L's Sunday Check-in. It's like L's Sunday Check-in. Have you had a good week? Give L a thumbs up. Have things not gone quite right for you? Give Elle a thumbs down. And here the traction is built to 50, 60, 70, 100,000 people checking in every Sunday.
Wow, that's brilliant.
Yeah, I think there's some accountability. People going, I've been clean 37 days. I've been clean 300
People like
days.
to talk. Yeah, it's a community vibe, man. We dropped this on a Friday night now, and I feel like that's starting to pick up momentum where people are like, oh, this is because what we need, we like. Sobriety's like, it is like a full-time thing. Let's not sugarcoat it. I mean,
definitely.
Like I'm terrified that, I mean, I don't know what would happen to my life now. You know, if I went back to my old ways, there's a lot of people that have never given up on me that would definitely give up on me now. There's a lot of people out there that would be like,
last chance saloon.
I can't be fucked with this again, mate. Because even though my sobriety is a good thing, it's still the Dan show. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand what I mean by that?
Of course.
You know, within my family and my friends and everywhere, I get it. It's still like, oh right, okay. So now it's the Dan show anyway, but now it's the Dan sobriety show. I think one more show, the pissed up show. People go, fuck him. We ain't buying tickets to it. So. I think that stuff like listening to the podcast, coming to the live shows and stuff like that, it's like people say, what is the work? You've got to put something every week, and doing this podcast for me is putting the work in. And for people out there listening to it, even though I might be repeating stuff that we've said in other episodes or you or whatever,
of course.
Them listening is putting the work in and them going, oh yeah, I'm still part of this community. It's still quite a cool thing to do, and I want to do it, and I want to stay sober.
For instance, put my words back in. Interesting, this morning, as I'm on my way this morning, just before I leave, somebody wrote on my TikTok, I've been clean 6 months, love listening to your podcast and your TikTok, and love listening to Dappers. And I tagged you in on it.
Oh, really?
And I wrote, and I hashtagged you in on the TikTok, and I put, yeah, Dapper will love this because we love to hear this. How does that make you feel when people write these things back to you?
I need it. I do need it. I'm an ego-driven animal. Yeah, I am. You know, my good days and my bad days are, you know, I don't mind admitting it, because I think we've got to wear our hearts on our sleeve more on social media. If we don't wear our hearts on our sleeve on social media and we put a front on, then it sort of inspires people out there to not be their true self. So I'm a firm believer of just saying exactly how I feel, and a bad comment can ruin my day, and a good comment can brighten my day. You were telling me outside that Joe Rogan don't read none of his comments on his podcast, and I don't want to be like that. I'm doing this for people, and I want to read the. Look, I'm at a place in my life where if someone goes, like someone said to me the other day, listen, it's great with you and Kirk, but we want you to get more guests on again. That's interesting, and I'm great at taking constructive criticism. I can go, or if they're saying I'm interrupting people or talking over people, I'm not the sort of guy that goes, oh, what do you know? I'm fucking a podcast king. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm just learning. I'm just trying to, all right, I'll try not to do that. But when I get abuse, you know, about my family or my kids or whatever, it can enrage me. But then on the same note, when someone says, you know, me and my husband were going to break up, but he's been sober 6 months and he's, you know, you inspired him and he's listened. I think to myself, oh, this is better than selling out this is better than having a TV show. Or
it's good to give back.
Yeah, well, not just that. It's like it puts everything into, you know, I thought, oh, I want to be famous. I want to be on TV. I want to have a sold out tour and all that. And all that stuff's lovely, but it don't compare to someone fucking saying, my husband was going to kill himself. You know what I mean? We were going to break up, and he's watched your podcast, you've inspired him, and he's here. It makes you think, well, actually, in fucking 20 years' time, who's going to remember me? The person that bought a ticket to me stand-up show, or that wife? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And it's 100%, beautiful.
100%. Talking about people making comments. You did a video that I saw, I think it was either Instagram, TikTok, I can't remember where I saw it, about somebody making a bad comment. You did a take on it, a bit like, you know, like I really need to listen to your comment, and you're not my friend, and I love that. You know the video I'm talking about? Yeah, man. I mean, look, before any of this mental health, self-help, fucking sober stuff, I am a comedian, man. So I'm going to take the fucking piss. I'm going to. Love that.
And the truth is, my true thoughts and feelings of trolls out there is that they are the scum of the earth. I think that anyone that goes out of their way to sort of get a reaction from someone that's trying to do a positive thing, I don't mind if I do a video taking the piss out of something and someone trolls me on it. I'm not really that bothered, because I'm like, you know what, I'm being a knob anyway. Yep. But when it's on this mental health stuff or this stuff and I get trolled, I honestly look at them and I think, you know, I'm torn between thinking, well, you're obviously going through something, but I had to point that out, that the fucking social media's bred bred a whole fucking generation of narcissists. They really think that their opinion is valid. You know, someone telling me that I'm sorry, but I've unfollowed you. I'll never be following you. I'll never be following you again. I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck. Do you know what I mean?
But you make a valid point. I agree with you 100%. And I found that video so funny because I get comments like that. You get good comments, you get bad comments. You know, it's a bit water of a duck's back because I think to myself, if I get 5 out of 1,000, you know, that are bad, I think, listen, all the others, 995, good maths there. I'm helping, right? So that's how I look at it.
Yeah. And I've got to check myself every now and then. You know, I don't have a 9 to 5 job. There's people out there that are getting up at all hours in the morning. They're going out and they're physically working their absolute tits off for not what they deserve. You know what I mean? I mean, although I'm busy and mentally strained, I've got lots of things going on. I'm blessed to be working on social media and doing this type of stuff. So I try not take it too personally. And you know, because sometimes you can be, you know, to other people out there, you know, let's have it right. I'm in a great position to be able to talk, you know what I mean?
Definitely. And you made an interesting comment because somewhere at the back of your mind, you're also thinking to yourself, okay, you've been a knob making that comment, but
there's something wrong with you.
I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've got mental problems. I don't know what's going on in your life. Maybe your missus just left you. Maybe you've just done a Henry. Maybe you've done like 3.5 grams. I don't know. But, you know, sometimes like I just think, fucking scroll on by. You don't need to make a comment.
I want to meet him. I told you outside. every now and then I'm like, well, just pop. Well, I don't want to say it in case a load of people turn up down the studio.
We'll walk out and be 50 blokes there.
But yeah, there has been a few times where I'm very much tempted to. I mean, I did say it to someone. You actually saw, you know, on my Facebook where the geezer was taking the piss out of my boxing. I was sparring.
You should do 10 rounds, mate. 10 rounds every day.
You should be doing 10 rounds every morning. And you're shit. Like, and I said, all right, well, come down the gym then and have a little bit of sparring. And he just completely ignored that and carried on. And I was like, well, I thought so. But anyone that can actually fight, that's not aimed at you. Just trolls.
I'll tell you what the other thing is, just going to finish up now, but I'll tell you what the other thing is. Sometimes you get this negative comment, but then you've inspired and helped so many other people that I can sometimes sit back and watch other people jump all over them. And I'm just like, whoa, wow, thank you. You know, I'm not encouraging them to do it, but you know, sometimes that's nice.
And listen, it's a little bit out of order on all the positive comments to focus on the negative ones. Do you know what I mean? I try. The best thing to do is just block, but my ego. I've got a big block list on my TikTok. My ego don't let me block.
No,
sometimes I've got to say something.
Fuck them off. If you're not there and if it's not for you, then don't watch.
But massive love to everyone that leaves. This podcast gets a wealth of positive comments straight away, so I love you guys.
Love you too, baby. So listen, Dan, it's been a pleasure to take over your podcast for a change. I'd love to come to one of the live events. I'd love to do that.
Brilliant.
And just tell them for the last time before we finish up on when your dates are, when your comedy thing is, etc. Just give it one more time.
All right, cool. Yeah, so I've got no idea of the dates. Let me get
you know why? Impulsivity test.
Yeah. Let me get my dates up for you. But listen, it's going to be here down in Vauxhall, live studio audience. We're going to be mixing it up. I'm just going to get the link up here for you. It's going to be me and Kirk. And hopefully Elliot's going to come and join us. And here we go. Live podcasts. Let's have a look. Yes, Wednesday the 30th of August
is
time? Wednesday the 30th of August, about 7:30. Tickets are on sale now. We've got the 27th of September, 25th of October and 29th of November. So every month for the next 4 months we're doing
I'd love to come on Wednesday the 30th of August.
The first one.
All
right, fuck it, let's do it. Elliot's going to be there, man. This guy, like on his first podcast with me, he booked in his second one.
Fucking right.
He's good at this, isn't he? He knows what he's doing.
I brought him cakes on the second one.
He did, filled with cocaine. No, I'm joking. Elliot, where can they find you, mate? Tell them.
They can find me on www.hypnosis-expert.com. You can find me under my TikTok channel, hypnosis_expert. You can find me on Instagram. Guess what? Hypnosis_expert. I'd love to help you, love to watch your videos. And Dan, it's been a pleasure taking over.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks. Hello! We are going to take the Menace to Sobriety to the live stage, and we need a live studio audience to interact with us, to come along, listen, laugh, and learn everything about sobriety, mental health, well-being, and just come along for a night out with like-minded people. We are going to be going live on the 30th of August, 27th of September, 25th of October, and the 29th of November. That's one a month. Get your tickets now. Come down, meet the team, and have some fun. Menace to Sobriety Live, coming soon. Oh yes, and don't forget, if you want to come and see me live and meet me, I'm going on tour. The Daniel O'Reilly Out of Character full UK tour kicks off in January 2024, and tickets are on sale right now. I'm going to try and get out and meet as many of you as possible, and of course, I'm going to be bringing the laughs all over the UK. There's 23 dates right now, and I'm adding more all the time. Hit the link in the bio and get your tickets now and come have some fun. If you're going through a tough time at the moment, please don't suffer in silence. Feel free to pick up the phone and contact any of these helplines. I personally, myself, at one of my darkest points, contacted the Samaritans, and it completely changed my outlook and got me out of a really deep, dark place. A problem shared really is a problem halved. So if you don't feel confident talking to those around you, check out any of these organisations and give them a call. This is my Facebook group. Just simply search on Facebook, Men and Their Emotions. It's for men only, but once you're in there, you can talk anonymously about your problems and help others and just feel a little bit of community. So come join the conversation, Men and Their Emotions, on Facebook. Thanks for watching.
Menace to sobriety. Just a menace. Just a menace. Just a menace. Menace to sobriety.